Hello Pottery Plus, welcome back to the studio. I was just looking through our little archive of videos and I realized that I don't have a video that shows how to make a cylinder from start to finish. And that's kind of like one of the first things that you learn when you're learning to throw on the wheels. So we do have a video where it's like a series of 3 videos where it's broken down into parts. But I just thought for those of you who might want it like a little quicker version and to see the whole thing like start to finish, not so in depth, I wanted to sit down and make that today. I know that at least I learned to make a cylinder as the first form on the wheel. I know that some instructors prefer to teach a bowl first, but either way, any form that you want to make, you're gonna probably need to learn to make a cylinder at some point, because it is the foundation for so many. I mean, it's the foundation for any form that isn't round on the bottom. So coffee mug, pitcher, a vase, a teapot, depending on the shape of the teapot, jar, all kind of starts with a cylinder. So what I have here right now is about 1.5 pounds of clay that I weighed and wedged. And this is a little bit of scrap mixed with a little bit of like fresh clay from my bag. So I'm definitely feeling that a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just gonna start to center it up here. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing in and towards center with my left hand with this part of my hand. It kind of looks like I'm squeezing with my fingers, and I am keeping them nice and snug against the side of the clay, but I'm really working with like the lower part of my palm to apply pressure and get that into the center. Now when you're making a cylinder, you want to center it like as if it's going to go into a cylindrical shape. So you kind of want to be thinking of it right now as like a short, low cylinder. So you want the walls to kind of be, pretty straight up. So I'm going to work on that a little bit now. And this is also just kind of a finesse step for my centering, you guys. Is I'm sort of using the pressure of like these 2 fingers sort of through the sponge, so it kind of disperses the pressure out a little bit for me, and I'm just sort of moving slowly up and down until I like what I see and I feel like it looks centered. I think that looks pretty good. And you guys, when I used to teach adults, I would kind of show them that step of going up and down like that. And they would just kind of go like this without really like stopping and assessing. So you may have heard me say that on another video before. It's like if the walls look straight and you're on center, you don't need to just keep doing that. Now sometimes like you get the tactile feeling of it and you just kind of keep going because it feels kind of good. There's nothing wrong with that, but just make sure that you're being like intentional with any pressure that you're putting on the clay. You don't want to just kind of be like mindlessly touching it. Because I was just saying this to like a group of 7th graders last week. Like if your hands are on your clay and you don't know why, stop and assess. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So to open a cylinder, and you guys, the nails are not ideal for this. And I know, please don't be mad. I've said before that long nails are not ideal for throwing, but I'm just enjoying them. I've been having fun having painted nails, kind of like this year. It was kind of like when the new year came around, I was like, I want to start painting my nails. So I've been doing that, but, and you can kind of get away with it if you sort of know what you're doing with throwing, but again, it's not ideal. So, it would be better if I didn't have these, but I do. So let's go anyway. So I like to start my opening by using just like my pointer finger and making a little indentation, and that's gonna be there so that when I go in with my thumbs and I'm putting a lot of pressure down with my thumbs, it's not gonna be wanting to like push my thumbs to the side. When it's mounded up and you try to put your thumbs straight down, sometimes that happens. It'll kind of bump you off center or sort of like push your thumbs to a bit of an angle, and that is the last thing you want when you're doing an opening for a cylinder. We really want our thumbs to be strong and straight down when we're starting to create the opening. So the first step is just gonna be like a drill straight down, okay? And my thumbs are like this, and for me, with the nails, I'm gonna really tuck my thumbs together so that my nails don't catch as I'm going down. But basically, you're just gonna go down till you feel like you're close to the bat, but not on it, and out, okay? Now, sometimes you're gonna see folks who go like this. They go down, let's see if I can show you my hand position. They go down and out, like all in one motion, down and out. I like to just drill down, check and see if I've gone deep enough using my needle tool. So what I'm gonna do is just push the needle tool down right into the center of my opening and feel if there's some clay down there. I do have a little. I may have gone down a little far, honestly, folks, but not so far that it isn't salvageable. So if you go all the way down to the bat, though, you can fix that. We'll talk about that on another video. But once you've got your opening, or your, let's say, once you have your depth to where you like it, I think then is a better time to go and start opening and making the floor. I like to kind of take a beat in between. But that's just me. I do everything slow also. So I know that like speed is important to some folks, but for me, I just like to sort of check and assess and, I don't know, just sort of get everything lined up every step of the way. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little water down there. Little water, because I really need my hands to slide on the next step. So what I'm gonna be doing next is I'm creating a flat floor. That's one of the like key markers of the difference of how you open a cylinder versus a bowl. We don't want the bottom of this to be round because then it's gonna have bulk like in the corners of the pot. So my next step is I wanna put my thumbs back in here and I'm gonna squeeze my thumbs out and towards my hands to make like this, to make a really flat floor. I'm not gonna go like this, you guys. I'm not gonna move my whole hand. I'm gonna dig with my thumbs to make that flat floor. And that's gonna help my arms not to get so tired, you guys. Like, your thumbs are strong. They can really do a lot of work for you if you just dig and keep them flush across the bottom of the piece, okay? So I'm just putting my thumbs flat down against the bottom and I'm digging my thumbs towards my palms. I'll figure out an angle where you can see that better. So it's like, let me get this hand out of the way. So it's like this. I'm digging my thumb down there in that bottom edge, like right here. And so on this side, you can't see this as well, but it's over here. And I was just kind of digging and trying to keep my thumbs really flat and flush against the bottom of the piece. Okay, so now I've got a pretty good, nice flat floor. It's looking like a bowl from the outside, I know, but just bear with me for a second. So what I'm doing now is I'm compressing that floor down. And I'm doing this on my right side because I'm a right-handed person, you guys. But what I'm doing here is I'm kind of digging in these two fingers right here and trying to create like an angled, like meeting of the floor and the wall right there. Because that's where we get a lot of bulk, right? If you've been working on the wheel for a little bit, you know it's like we work and work and work to try and keep excess clay out of those like bottom little dark corners, and it's just kind of hard to do. But if you start here by pushing the excess out into the wall and making a really nice corner down there, it helps you not to have to fight that so much. Okay, so this is something I used to always say in class. We want this piece to go up, but right now it's going out because of the pressure that was applied to it just by me having to dig my thumbs in. It kind of like flared out the walls. So before I try to pull, I want to take care of that. So kind of like that motion I was doing with my centering, with the sponge on the outside, I'm just going to press this back into more of a cylindrical shape, because if I start trying to pull walls right now, it's going to flare out into like a bowl shape. And I think, you guys, if you've ever had that happen, I feel like every beginner goes through that. Like where you're trying to pull a cylinder and it turns into a bowl and it's frustrating. but that can help you with that. Like, you know, if you start pulling and your clay is already kind of flaring out, leaning out like that, you know, cinch it back in, get it into more of a vertical position, and it will help when you start to pull, because it's not going to naturally already be, you know, wanting to go out into that bowl shape. Okay, I want to do a little more here. So I'm going to spray it, and then I'm going to even like collar this in to make it really, really straight and cylindrical. Just from this point, without even really throwing or doing too much with it yet. Okay, I think that's all right. I think that'll do. And you guys, like I said, this is 1.5 pounds. This is more than I normally use for a demo, but I wanted it to be kind of bigger. But if it's looking kind of bulky, it is. I just added some extra clay today. Okay, so I'm gonna spray this again. I'm using porcelain, you guys. Porcelain responds well to spraying, but however you need to wet down your clay. I don't like to just douse it because this clay is pretty... Ooh, there's an air bubble there, guys. Do you see it? It's like right... Oh, there's... Maybe it's not an air bubble. Something. All right, that's okay. We'll work around it. Anyway, porcelain will kind of disintegrate if you're not careful, so I just like not to get my clay too wet, but however you wet down your clay, this would be the time to do it. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my left hand, and I'm going to kind of be crab clawing this, okay? So like I'm pinching like this down at the bottom of the pot. My right hand is going to come in and support, like it's sort of like bracing my thumb like this, kind of coming in around. And then these fingers on my right hand aren't really doing anything other than just to get in sort of a supportive position and, you know, stay close in with the other fingers. I know that's very specific, but it's a hand positions. I find if you can find the right one for you, it really helps. Okay, so now I'm going to pinch in between those fingers and move slowly up the walls. When I say slow, I mean your body should be moving slow. Your wheel speed should be about like moderate, medium, moderate. I don't know. Again, some people like to go a little quicker, but you might notice I haven't really changed my wheel speed too much. So I usually stick around a medium speed. I just feel most comfortable with that, but again, that's a preference thing. Okay, so I got some height out of it. That's good, but I can tell there's still some bulk down here. The walls are a little thick, and for 1.5 pounds of clay, I know I could go a little further with this. So I'm gonna spray again and do the same thing again. Crab claw with the left, supporting character on the right. And I'm gonna pinch and move slowly up the walls, and I am feeling an air bubble down there, but I'm just gonna let it. If I stay steady, it'll be okay. Slowly up the walls all the way to the top. And she's flaring out on me a little bit, friends. It's just so natural, you guys. I mean, even after working on the wheel for many years, that still just happens. If you're getting a lot of flare out like that, like to the point where it doesn't look like a cylinder, I used to find it helpful to, like, if I'm flaring out this way, like try overcorrecting it. Like when you're trying to pull straight up, try to pull back the other way, and it kind of like, it can kind of get you closer to being able to pull a little bit straighter walls. Okay. Once again, kind of same as last time. Like I know that this is getting there, but I can tell I could still get some more bulk out of it. So I'm going to do one more pull. And folks, assess your pulls. That's another one of those steps where it's like you get going on it and it feels good and you see change happening and it's exciting. But sometimes we just keep going without really thinking about why or like what is the next step. So assess, you might not need to assess like each and every pull, especially if you're kind of at that level where you're not getting much out of each pull. Like you could kind of just take a minute and just experience like the tactile part of it. But for the most part, you want to make sure that each pull you do is really needed. Like, and it's gonna make the piece closer to what you're wanting. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. I am going to spray one more time so I can get my hands down in there and just see if there's any areas of thickness that need to be taken care of. So my hand position has had to change here. I'm really just kind of pinching as best I can between these fingers, these 3 on each hand. But you guys, when you get to this height where you can't crab claw anymore, keep your hands or your thumbs together, touching somewhere. It's gonna help you, I promise. Okay, so just to get a little more bulk out of the bottom, I'm gonna push it out a little bit down there. You might not be even be able to see it. So I'm pushing out right against the floor, just to see if there's anything down there that I could still pull up and take care of. And I am gonna do like the gentlest little pull right here, just to see if I can spread that out. There wasn't much down there though, honestly, you guys. It kind of, I was probably pushing it a little bit far to try to get more out from under there, but that's okay. And all the way up and off the top. Remember, when you get to the top, don't jump off. Come all the way up, and with gentle fingers, just release like that. You might be able to see, I've got a little tiny bit of off-centeredness there at the top. Let's see if we can do something about that. Actually, you know what? This isn't the time for that. This is the time to shape the cylinder. So you guys, from here, you know, you can see the possibilities are, I mean, they're just endless. You could turn this into so many different forms, and I think maybe we'll do another video about that, like all the different directions that you could take this from here. I'm gonna start by smoothing out the surface. If you've been here before, you know I like to do this. It's just a preference. If you like throwing rings, I like you liking throwing rings, okay? So this is just me, and again, you've probably heard me say this before, but the metal rib is my preferred refining tool, but many people do not appreciate the metal rib. And I understand why. It can like cut you viciously, so. But if you can learn how to work with it, I mean, it just gives you the smoothest surface. So I'm gonna start with that. I think next I'm gonna do some simple trimming, because down here I'm kind of flaring out a little bit right here. And I think if I can release that little bit of excess, the pot will be like more amicable to stretching out a little bit and maybe putting a little shape and a little body into it. So again, not a very nice tool, a very basic tool. I think it looks a little more angled right here than it comes in like the kit. So I think I must have sanded this down so it has a little more of a sharp edge there, but it's not too much. But I'm just gonna trim this off. This is a tricky part sometimes, so let me kind of talk you through it. So I'm gonna sink my tool in kind of like, and get my hand centered and steady, and then really, really, really slow, I'm gonna move my tool down. And when I say slow, I mean your body, your hand and arm movements need to be slow, not the wheel speed needs to be slow. And when you see that ring coming through, that you're seeing the bat right there, so that tells you that it's out and away and it's released. If you go too fast on that part, friends, sometimes like you're just gonna end up sort of like shaving layers off right there, but they're still gonna be attached, so that's not super, super helpful. But yeah, just slow down. That's the biggest thing that I always saw people having trouble with when they were trying to do that little bit of trimming, is just slow down, take your time. Try not to be in a hurry. I'm gonna dry some water out of the bottom of this because I'm about to add a little more water so that I can maybe stretch it out, do some fun stuff. And so we don't want a whole lot of excess hanging out down there. All right, let's, you know what, actually, I'm just gonna start by collaring this in a little bit at the top, just for fun. And you guys, I'm just kind of playing around with it at this point. So if you want to go get on the wheel and try this, I'm just gonna be playing around. So it's not anything else that's gonna be too much more technical stuff here, but I just want to kind of play and see what I can do with my cylinders. So I'm just going to collar it in at the top. I don't know why, you guys. I have no intention of anything I'm making. I just kind of want to show you a little bit of what you could do from here. Maybe I'll make this into a little vase. I'm just gonna collar, you know, sometimes you can only get it to collar so much. Because it'll start to kind of like get that little wave to it. Especially when the clay is kind of thin and damp like mine is, but okay, that's a little something. It's a little something. Now let's push it out from the inside. And you guys, if this is bugging you, like it's bugging me a little bit. It's not that bad, but it's bugging me a little bit. I'm gonna take care of that, but if you do it like while you're still throwing, it'll just come back. You have to save that and do it the very, very, very last, okay? So that is a good hack. So if you wanna stick around for that one or fast forward, please be my guest. It's a great little, you know, trick to have in your back pocket to be able to kind of shave that off and get it even. Okay, I'm gonna push out at the bottom. I'm just holding my metal rib in case I need some support, but I've got my fingers right against the bottom edge of the pot, and I'm just gonna push and see what kind of volume I can get out of this. It is scaring me a little bit because I'm feeling a tiny bit of friction down there, but that's okay. Let me just add some water. I've been wanting to make have you guys seen those mugs that look like 3 donuts stacked up? I saw it on that Netflix show, The Midnight Club. It's really cute. Well, I don't want to say cute because there are some kind of intense horror moments in it, but a really good kind of like YA style horror show on Netflix. And yeah, one of the characters had like this donut mug, and I was like, that's so cute. It was like 3 like boom, boom, booms. So I don't know, maybe I'll start playing around with that. What would that look like? I think I would probably want it to be more dramatic, but I don't know, maybe this could be a start to something like that. You guys, I'm really just sort of experimenting here. I'm sorry that I'm not talking more through what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to take away from like the concept of learning techniques and mastering techniques. But you guys, there is also a part of ceramics that's like intuitive. Like if you want the clay to do something and you think you know how to get it to do that, you're usually right. You know, you're usually going to be correct. Like, and all of the motions that you do are just applying pressure. So if you think about how and where to apply pressure to get a certain shape, like you're usually right. Like, you know, you know what to do. So I don't know, you guys, maybe that's the beginning of a donut mug. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I think where I would go from here is maybe I would trim out a little bit more down here. I am scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it did not go perfectly, but that's okay. I just wanted a little more to work with down there because I want this bottom part to be even more round. Okay, so anyway, let me do that last little trick of trimming off the top, and then we'll wrap it up today, friends. Thank you for, if you're still here, gosh, thank you. I've just been kind of playing around. Okay, so to get that a little bit more straightened out, I'm gonna have to bring it back up. I had kind of curved it in like you saw, but this step does not work if the rim isn't kind of like facing up. Okay, and what I'm gonna do, this is scary, you guys, and you're gonna wanna slow down. You're gonna wanna slow your wheel speed to do this, but try not to. You need to keep it medium, moderate. I'm gonna sort of be like bracing or supporting the area that I'm gonna trim off so that when it's released, I can pull it up and off. But I'm just gonna sink the needle tool through kind of like below. You've gotta go below where the problem area is, and then lift it off. So what I did was I cut through till I could feel my finger, and then I lifted it away. Now, if it's a bit off center, it doesn't, you know, obviously it can't fix that, but what it does do is it makes it so that you don't have a high and low in the rim, okay? So again, if you keep pulling after this, that little bit of unevenness will come back. But if you save this for the very last step, yeah, like I said, it's a really handy little trick to be able to do. So you guys, thank you. Oh my God, we've gotten up to 25 minutes. I hope this video was helpful for you, and that maybe if you're working on cylinders, this helps make it a little easier. I know cylinders can be really challenging. So if you have any feedback about that, let me know. And yeah, have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.